Dubai's unusual laws. Surprising things that could get you in trouble.
Yeah.
I think most people know Dubai for its luxury and glamour.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But behind all the glitz and glam, there's a whole legal side that might just make you raise an eyebrow.
For sure.
So we're going into deep dives today into a stack of articles
All right.
about things that have gotten tourists in legal trouble in Dubai.
Interesting.
We're going to uncover the surprising side of Dubai's legal landscape,
Okay.
especially those seemingly harmless actions that could have serious consequences.
Right. Yeah.
It's ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
It's easy to think of Dubai as this like ultra-modern city
Right.
and then totally get caught off guard when something you do runs afoul of the law.
Oh, for sure.
And it can definitely happen.
Yeah.
And to people who really aren't trying to do anything wrong.
Exactly. Like take the case of Craig Ballantyne.
Okay.
He was arrested in Dubai after he returned home to Belfast
Wow.
for writing a negative Google review of a dog grooming business.
So-
It's wild. That's right.
Yeah.
And this case really illustrates how Dubai's cybercrime laws can reach beyond its borders.
Right?
A lot of people don't realize that.
I would think not.
Yeah, it's not just about what you do while you're physically in Dubai,
Uh-huh.
but what you say about Dubai online, no matter where you are.
So even a tweet from my couch back home could get me in trouble.
Potentially. Yeah, especially if it's deemed defamatory or damaging to a person or business's reputation in Dubai. And there are other examples.
Oh, really?
Arrests have been made for negative reviews of rental car companies and restaurants.
Oh.
The takeaway here is that Dubai places a high value on online reputation.
So it's not just libel and slander,
Right.
but a bad review could also land you in hot water.
Yes.
It seems like something a lot of people might not even consider.
Exactly. It's about thinking before you post.
Right. So speaking of things we do online,
Yeah.
our next deep dive takes us into the world of social media slip-ups.
We found a couple of examples where seemingly harmless posts led to trouble. One involved a woman venting about a bad restaurant experience on Instagram. Another involved a tourist selfie that captured strangers in the background without their permission.
Oh, wow. Okay. These cases highlight a few really important things to remember about Dubai.
Okay.
Defamation and slander laws apply to social media.
Got it.
Even if you're just expressing a personal opinion,
Uh-huh.
if it's seen as damaging to someone's reputation,
Right.
you could face legal consequences.
Yeah.
Another important point is consent.
Okay.
It's crucial to have permission from anyone you photograph.
Yeah.
This might seem obvious, but people can sometimes forget when they're caught up in the moment, especially with the ease of taking and sharing photos on social media these days.
Right. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It's so easy to think of our online spaces as being somehow separate from the real world.
Right.
This reminds us that what we do online can have very real legal ramifications.
Yeah.
Especially in a place like Dubai. What stands out to you from these cases?
Well, what's fascinating here is the clash between Dubai's image as this cosmopolitan hub and the reality of its legal system.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that Dubai is still rooted in Islamic values.
Okay.
There's an emphasis on respect, on not causing harm,
Right.
and on maintaining a certain standard of public decorum.
Uh-huh.
And these values extend to the online world as well.
Okay, now let's move from the digital world to something a little more physical.
Okay.
Public displays of affection.
All right.
I was pretty shocked to read about a British couple who were jailed for kissing on the beach.
Yeah, and that case sparked a lot of discussion about Dubai's laws and cultural norms.
I bet.
Yeah, it's important to remember that public displays of affection, even something as seemingly innocent as a kiss,
Wow.
are generally frowned upon in Dubai.
So even a quick peck on the cheek could be a problem.
It's best to err on the side of caution,
Okay.
and it's not just about physical affection either.
Oh, really?
Swearing in public, making obscene gestures, even during something like a traffic dispute,
Oh, wow.
and sleeping in your car are all considered offenses.
Sleeping in your car.
Right.
That one's definitely a surprise.
It might seem strange, but there's often a rationale behind these laws.
Okay.
It could be about safety or security, or even
Right.
just about maintaining a certain level of public order.
So Dubai has some definite no-nos in terms of public behavior.
Right.
But our research also turned up some truly quirky laws
Okay.
that could trip up even the most well-intentioned traveler.
Absolutely. For example, did you know that feeding stray cats could lead to a fine?
Seriously?
Yeah.
That seems harsh, especially for animal lovers.
It does.
Yeah.
But there's a logic behind it.
Okay.
Dubai has concerns about controlling the population of stray animals and maintaining public hygiene.
Gotcha.
They're trying to discourage behaviors that could contribute to those problems.
That makes sense.
Okay.
But this next one really surprised me.
Okay.
Bringing poppy seeds into Dubai.
Oh, yeah.
Even on a bread roll can get you into serious trouble.
That one always catches people off guard.
I bet.
But poppy seeds are sometimes used in the production of opium.
Right.
So there's concern about them being brought into the country.
Okay.
Dubai has a strict zero-tolerance drug policy.
Got it.
So even a few poppy seeds on your bagel could be a problem.
That's a good reminder to check your snacks before you pack your bags.
Definitely. And speaking of things you might want to leave at home,
Okay.
carrying adult magazines or toys into Dubai is strictly prohibited.
So no 50 Shades of Grey in your carry-on.
Right. Dubai adheres to Islamic values.
Right.
And that extends to what's considered acceptable in terms of personal belongings.
It's really interesting how these specific laws offer a glimpse into a different cultural perspective.
Absolutely.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground already, but we've got more to come.
Okay.
We'll be back in just a moment with even more surprising legal quirks from Dubai.
Stay tuned. We'll also talk about some practical tips for navigating these legal nuances.
Sounds good.
All right.
Welcome back. We're right in the middle of exploring the unexpected side of Dubai's legal landscape. But before we jump back in,
Yeah.
I think it's really important to emphasize this is about judging another culture's laws.
I totally agree. I think that's important to say.
Yeah?
This deep dive is all about understanding.
Right.
We're looking at these laws to help people avoid unintended trouble
Yeah.
and have a safe and respectful trip.
Exactly. So with that in mind,
Yeah.
what are some other things that travelers should be aware of?
Well, let's talk about medications.
Okay.
You might be surprised to learn that some over-the-counter medicines that are perfectly fine in other countries could be considered controlled substances in Dubai.
Really? Like what? So something like my allergy medication could get me in trouble.
It's possible.
Wow.
Some common medications,
Wow.
even those you can buy without a prescription in many places,
Right.
contain ingredients that are restricted in Dubai.
Okay.
It's crucial to check the regulations beforehand
Yeah.
and have a doctor's prescription for any medication you bring, even if you don't usually need one.
That's a really good tip and a good reminder to always pack any medications in your carry-on
Oh, yeah.
where you can easily access them. Speaking of things that could catch travelers off guard,
Yeah.
what about alcohol? I know Dubai has some specific rules there.
Yeah, Dubai does have strict regulations surrounding alcohol.
Okay.
While it's available in licensed venues like hotels and restaurants, drinking or being intoxicated in public is strictly prohibited.
Okay.
And these laws extend beyond behavior.
Really?
You can't even have alcohol in your car without a special license, even if it's unopened.
So no impromptu picnics with a bottle of wine then?
Right.
What about bringing alcohol into the country?
Bringing alcohol into Dubai is tightly controlled.
Okay.
You are allowed to bring in a limited amount of alcohol, but the specific allowances can vary,
Gotcha.
depending on your point of origin and whether you're a tourist or a resident. It's best to check with the official Dubai Customs website or your airline for the most up-to-date information on duty-free allowances.
It sounds like it's easier and probably safer to stick to enjoying alcohol in designated areas where it's permitted.
I think that's a good rule of thumb.
So we've talked about online behavior, public displays of affection,
Yeah.
medications, and alcohol. What other surprising laws should travelers be aware of?
Here's one that often raises eyebrows.
Okay.
Cross-dressing is illegal in Dubai.
What are the cultural reasons behind this law?
Dubai, as we've been discussing, has a legal system that's rooted in Islamic values. These values emphasize modesty and traditional gender roles.
Okay.
Cross-dressing is seen as going against those norms.
Right.
It's important to be respectful of these cultural and religious sensitivities.
That's a good point. It's a reminder that what might be considered perfectly normal in one culture can be viewed very differently in another.
Exactly, and that's the whole point of this deep dive, right? To help people navigate those differences and avoid unintentionally breaking the law.
Absolutely. So to sum things up, what are the key takeaways for someone planning a trip to Dubai?
I think the most important thing is to do your research and familiarize yourself with Dubai's laws and cultural norms. What might seem like common sense or perfectly acceptable behavior at home could have unintended consequences.
So being informed is really key.
Yes, and it's not just about avoiding negative consequences.
Right.
It's about showing respect for the place you're visiting.
Yeah.
A little bit of effort to understand local customs goes a long way.
Well said. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
But before we wrap up this exploration of Dubai's unusual laws, we have a few more insights to share.
Okay.
We'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been uncovering some of Dubai's more unusual laws, things that might surprise you even if you consider yourself a seasoned traveler.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating conversation. I always find it interesting how these laws give us a window into another culture, another way of looking at the world.
I agree. It reminds us that what we think of as normal is really just a product of our own cultural background.
Exactly. So, before we wrap up this deep dive, any final thoughts for our listeners?
I'd say don't let these laws scare you off from experiencing Dubai. It's an amazing city with so much to offer visitors. Just go in with a little bit of knowledge and a lot of respect.
I think that's the perfect takeaway. Knowledge is power, and in this case, it can help ensure a safe and enjoyable trip. By being aware of the laws and customs of Dubai, you're not only protecting yourself, you're also demonstrating respect for the place you're visiting.
Well said. Before we go, why don't we recap some of the key tips for staying on the right side of the law in Dubai?
Sure, be mindful of what you post online, even after you've left. Remember, negative reviews or anything that could be considered defamatory can have consequences. Respect personal space and avoid public displays of affection. Be cautious with medications, even those you can buy over the counter in other countries. Make sure you have the necessary prescriptions and check the regulations beforehand. Alcohol consumption is limited to licensed venues, and having alcohol in your car without a special license is a big no-no. And of course, remember that cross-dressing is against the law.
That's a great summary. A little awareness goes a long way in ensuring a smooth and enjoyable trip.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, travel is all about experiencing something new, learning about different cultures. Keep an open mind and be respectful, and you'll have an amazing time.
That's a great note to end on. Be curious, be informed, and enjoy your journey. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into Dubai's unusual laws. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment below if you've heard about other unusual laws you'd like us to cover next, or if you've got any experiences of your own to share. Until next time, stay curious and travel safely.